very kindly, everyone, for keeping faith with us. We tried to do one or two things to ensure that we have BKO at all costs, and it also ensured that he found a vantage position to get connected so that we can have this program and these thoughts going with you. So keep sending your questions. We are starting the show right away. BKO, thank you so much for ensuring that you are here live on the YouTube channel. BKO. Right, BKO, let me quickly send you my first question. In the words of presidential spokesman, talking about the onslaught against the bandits, Femi Adesina says the military is sending bandits to God to answer for their sins. But it looks like these bandits are now seeking a truce. Should we welcome their plea, BKO?
No, absolutely not. I agree with presidential spokesman Femi Adesina that at this time, the Nigerian forces are dispatching the bandits to their maker, where hopefully they will face justice for the crimes that they committed against man and God. So, yeah, this time, yes, they are asking for a truce. They've spoken to some governors who in the past had related with them, hoping that they will change their ways. But the governors are tired of them now, as you heard from the governor of Katsina State. He actually even regrets negotiating with bandits. He regrets offering bandits amnesty. So the way it is, we are happy that the operation is proceeding at a good pace. But all we want to do is appeal to the armed forces to stay the course, to keep their eyes on the ball, to stay focused. Because in the past, we had situations in which we felt that we were close to defeating Boko Haram. And it turned out that we jubilated too early. So all that we can do, as I said earlier, is to appeal to the armed forces to continue to decimate the enemy and send them to their maker. I'm really pleased with the way the operation is going on. I'm really pleased.
Absolutely. So let me remind our audience, if you're watching, if you joined us earlier and then you're out and you're in now, tell others that we are back. Keep sending your questions. We are receiving your messages already. So let me ask you this second question, Babajide. The controversial cleric, Ahmed Gumi, says that locals are the one affected by the military onslaught. He says, and I quote, "What has never been the solution," he said, "war has never been the solution anywhere, anytime," urging the Nigerian government to grant an amnesty to the bandits. Are you thinking along this line too?
No, I disagree with him. You know, I could have backed Sheikh Gumi if he was so influential to the point that he could get bandits to change their ways, to free innocent people in their custody. But he doesn't appear to even have that kind of influence. Maybe on one or two occasions he got involved in negotiations, and that has been it. When those university students, those Kaduna University students were kidnapped, we all thought that Gumi would be able to play a part in getting those innocent students released. But at a point, what one of Gumi's representatives said was that if Gumi proceeded further, he could in fact be kidnapped himself. So if Gumi himself ran the risk of being kidnapped for any reason, why is he going about playing the role of a spokesman for bandits? Why is he appealing for amnesty for bandits who have shown that they do not deserve amnesty. The governor of Katsina State granted them amnesty, but they returned to continue to kill his people, to kidnap students in Katsina State. And the governor was at a point even pushed to tears. So if you cannot get bandits to change their ways, to conduct themselves in a manner that conforms with the laws of our nation, if you can't get them to stop wasting lives the way they are wasting lives in Zamfara, in Katsina, and other places, then no one will take you seriously. No one will listen to you. Why do you want a better deal or a good deal for people who have shown absolutely no regard for the laws of our land and no regard for lives? So I disagree with Gumi, and I don't think that any sensible person should take Sheikh Gumi seriously.
Well, but then one thing Sheikh Gumi is worried about is the fact that it says that it is the locals that are being killed, according to him. He said some of these bandits got into the village and asked people who already understands, the in and out of the village to lead them. So one of those who were leading them escaped through the thick bush and came out and give this information. So do you think we are facing these bandits, these insurgents, these terrorists, directly, or are we having collateral damage?
Yes, in this kind of operation, there certainly will be collateral damage. And I want to believe that it's one of the reasons the army is keeping the operation under wraps. One thing I know is that when you are conducting a big operation like this, and knowing full well that these bandits have innocent people that they have abducted in their custody, people that they like to use as human shields, there would of course be collateral damage. But what can atone for this is for us to end decisive victory over these bandits. If we cannot end decisive victory over them, then the whole effort will have been wasted. So I know that it is true that some civilians will have lost their lives at this time. I can say that it's almost inevitable, because as we've seen, where you have a huge cluster of people in the forests, the military will see such clusters of people simply as legitimate targets. And these terrorists know how to use people as human shields. There is no doubt there will be collateral damage. No doubt about it. And knowing the problem that they face, they would have even put in their custody to the areas where they are sure the army, the areas they are sure the army will target. So this is the situation. There will be collateral damage, but I doubt if the collateral damage is as much as Sheikh Gumi wants us to believe. All he's after is for us to stop attacking these bandits. Yet he cannot stop the bandits from attacking people.
Okay, Babajide.
No? So that is the problem.
We'll get back to the discussion. We'll get back to that particular topic, and we already have a question from Abdurrahim Sulaiman. So Abdurrahim Sulaiman will ask your question, but we'll go to the next
where
topic.
I now.
I will now come back to the question. So we'll take this opportunity to tell our viewers, I say thank you again for keeping faith with us, but keep sending your questions. I promise you, we're going to take these questions, and Bajide will listen to them. We'll answer them, rather. So let's go to the next topic quickly, very briefly. The value-added tax collection row. Recall that the Court of Appeal in Abuja ordered the Rivers and Lagos State government to stay action on their bids to collect value-added tax, pending the resolution of the legal dispute on the matter. This issue has heightened the national debate on Nigeria's uneven fiscal federalism, Without running into the trap of subjudice, Babajide, how have you been following this contentious subject, PKO?
Yes, I've been following it from the moment when the Federal High Court in Port Harcourt, River State, gave that judgment that it should be the River State government and not the Federal Inland Revenue Service that should be in charge of collecting value-added tax and personal income tax. I've been following it since then, and I could tell you that the moment that judgment came, the other states were alerted to the need to even join the rivers in pushing for control, in pushing for the collection of value-added tax and personal income tax in their states. To many people, that is one way of bringing about restructuring without firing a shot. What I want to say is that this matter is not ethnic in nature. It is socio-economic, because there are states in the north that will benefit tremendously from this, and there are states in the south that will benefit tremendously from it. There are states in the south that will suffer from it, as much as there are states in the north that will suffer in the event of states being put directly in charge of the collection of value-added tax and the personal income tax. For the states that wants to be in charge of VAT collection, they have valid reasons, much more valid reasons than even the argument that a state that does not permit the consumption of alcohol should not be collecting value-added tax from alcohol. I think that it trivializes the issue when we make it look like this is simply an ethnic issue, it's simply a north-south thing. I mean, it's not a commonsensical argument, because if Lagos takes control of VAT, for example, or collection of VAT, for example, and it stops remitting to the center, of course, states like Ekiti, Osun, in the southwest will suffer. States like Ogun State, Oyo, if they improve their capacity to collect taxation, will be able to reap bountifully from it. As you can see, more and more new companies, even foreign direct investment, coming to Ogun State. Ogun State has been able to exploit maximally its closeness to Lagos by geography. So we are seeing a lot of new companies, some of them even integrated rice mills, coming into Ogun State. We've seen governor like the governor of Kaduna State attract investment to Kaduna State. So you are not going to tell me that value-added tax, for example, if states were given the power to collect, that Kaduna State will suffer from it. No, we should see this as a wake-up call for states to begin to look inwards, not simply rely heavily or totally on the distributable revenue from the center. States must look inwards and create oases of opportunities for economic advancement, for growth and development. This is this is the opportunity that I see if the apex courts were to go with the Federal High Court, Port Harcourt, and made made a landmark judgment that from now on, states should be the ones to collect value added tax.
All right.
One of the reasons for which a lot of people are not happy with this is the fact that you can, when you make phone calls from Kano, for example, of course, Kano is one of the states that will benefit tremendously if states were allowed to collect value-added tax. Kano has virtually everything: population, markets, industries. Although a lot of them are dead, but they still have the capacity to make so much money from taxation and from value-added tax. Those states that are doing well in terms of internally generated revenue, they will reap bountifully from it. But all over the world, states are not meant to operate at the same level.
Okay.
Even in America, some states are rich, some are not so rich. Some states are tremendously rich. A state like California is richer than many countries put together.
Absolutely.
So we will never be able to operate at the same level. So the argument that, oh, Ekiti will suffer, oh, Gombe will suffer, oh, Taraba will suffer, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. But I buy the position of Afenifere that there ought to be some form of dialogue on this matter.
All right,
so that
being said,
both the federal government and the other contending groups will be on the same page.
On the same page. Thank you, Babajide. So let's await some of questions from our audience who are watching live on that particular topic. So let me quickly take you back to our first topic, where the question was being asked by Abdurrahman Sulaiman. It says, Babajide, why do you think the bandits are not being arraigned in court, despite the fact that quite a lot of them have been arrested over the past months? Did you get my question, Babajide?
There is in our country, you got your question clearly. And these and other criminals get arrested in our country. They are arraigned in court. We see them on their first day in court, and after that, no more. We have been told repeatedly that when people get arrested in Katsina, for example, in Jos and other places, some powerful people in Abuja will apply pressure to have them transferred to Abuja. And once they are transferred to Abuja, that is the end of the story. There are a lot of these criminals who have godfathers in the highest places in our nation. So many of them will press the right buttons and they get released. Of course, they have sponsors. They have their patrons at some of the highest levels in our country. So don't be surprised if a criminal gets arrested and you are waiting for the criminal to be arraigned and it's not arraigned. Who can explain, for example, why Boko Haram, we have arrested so many Boko Haram suspects, yet to put them on trial is a big problem for us.
Right. Babajide, let me take another question from Fabian Akaize. He said, why has the federal government of Nigeria refused to review the Boko Haram apologists or apologetics in government? Okay, the question is trying to ask Fabian Akaize. Says, why has the federal government of Nigeria refused to review the Boko Haram apologists? I think we BKO, did you say something?
Has the federal government of Nigeria done what?
Not why has the federal government of Nigeria refused to name or reveal the identity of the Boko Haram sponsors in government?
Oh, honestly, I can't explain. It is the people in government who can explain, especially the Attorney General of the Federation. I don't know what he's scared of. They boasted to us that long list of Boko Haram sponsors, including they can't put.
All right, Babajide, I think we lost you momentarily. Let me chip in this question and see how we can, squeeze in your response because of the fluctuating Nigerian network. Rather than the federal government, this from Fabian Akezi, he said, rather than the federal government of Nigeria complain about how revenue are being generated, they should give a target to the state governments to generate a fixed amount of money for their running costs. BK. BK, did you catch that?
I think that the way it is now, there is a need for us as a people to sit down again. People have asked for a constitution better than this 1999 constitution. There is a need for us to sit down and look at some of these gray areas. I believe that states should be allowed to have greater control over their resources. If a state is blessed with tremendous mineral resources, they should have greater control over those resources, and they should only give some of it to the center. A situation in which the federal government has control over the mineral resources of states does not promote true federalism. States should have greater control over their resources than they have currently. I want to believe that if we do this, there will be greater prosperity in a lot of the Nigerian states as against what we are seeing now. And states know that they have to work hard to earn money with which they can develop their states, rather than waiting for money that gets distributed at the center. So, in my view, the federal government we should even have a new revenue allocation formula. What goes to the federal government, in my view, is too high. So we should have that revenue allocation formula reviewed so that states and local governments can get a lot more. People will argue that, oh, even what they got, what are they doing with it? But that is not a valid argument. States deserve to get much more than they are getting. As you can see, even some of the roads, federal roads, are being neglected. So it's still the states that have to spend money to fix this federal road. So where will the funding come from if nothing is done to boost the revenue profile of states?
BKO, let me ask you this very last question, and I want you to answer very briefly, although we understand the contingency today. Victor Kende is asking, when are we using our Super Tucano?
Yeah, the Super Tucanos have been inducted at a ceremony in Abuja early last week. They've been tested, and they will be fit to go into battle in the northeast, not in the northwest. Because the bandits, the Americans want us to use the Super Tucano on terrorists and not civilians. So they will be happy to have us use them against Boko Haram elements who have already been designated as terrorists. They will not be happy to see us use the Super Tucanos against bandits in the northwest and north central because they've not been designated as terrorists. So I can tell you that any time from now, because they were put to test last week, any time from now, the Super Tucanos will be going fully into the battle against Boko Haram and ISWAP in the northeast. So I expect that we'll be hearing a lot of reports from next week about the performance of our Super Tucano bombers. But the Nigerian authorities use them in the northwest against the bandits because the Americans have demanded that they should not be used against civilians. So they still see bandits as people that, they are not terrorists. They see them as simply bandits. But the Boko Haram elements who are branded terrorists, they will be happy to see us use it against those ones, but not against the bandits in the northwest.
All right, I'm afraid
that's why they've not been used in this operation going on in Zamfara.
Yes, BKO. I'm afraid we're out of time. So we say special thanks to Abdurrahim Sulaiman, Fabian Makaize, Victor Kende, Kechi HM, Ubong Anang, and so on and so forth. Someone is even saying, oh my gosh, this network, it's really giving us a bit of a headache. We understand, but we say thank you so much for ensuring that you joined us, and we say thank you to Babajide for also looking for every opportunity, every advantage to get connected. We say thank you, BKO, and we also say thank you for doing the investigative research you're on in Osun State. And that's our show for today's edition of Issues with Jide. Special thanks to you again, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju, for those insightful analyses, and as always, and thanks to you, to our audience, for joining on every edition. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, TVC News. Click on the subscribe button to get the latest information. I'm Ibrahim Shita. See you again next edition. I will promise a better show next edition as always. Bye now.